Animals have a knack for helping people out and making them feel safe. They alert us to intruders, pull us from fleeing buildings, and comfort our children to sleep at night in the form of a teddy bear. The teddy bear is of course technically not an animal, but there is no arguing that it is the animal's likeness doing the heavy lifting. So same. In any event, it seems only right that we honor a code and balance the books by helping our fellow creatures when they need a hand up, especially the bears. Here are a handful of people repaying their comic debts, not thinking twice about saving that most beloved animal of the wild kingdom. You guessed it, the bear. When Mama Bear pleased to a man to help her drowning cubs, it was never a question of if but how. Couple pulls bucket off swimming bear's head. Let's start our love relationship with bears with this small but important save by a Wisconsin couple. Trisha and Brian Hurt were boating back from a day of fishing in Marsh Miller Lake when they noticed something in the water moving at fast speed. At first glance, they suspected it was a dog or a rock, but as they approached the object, they discovered to their horror a plastic container stuck on the head of a swimming bear, and the container was filling with water. It was obvious straight away to the couple that they needed to help. They circled the anxious animal a number of times, trying to get close enough while also taking the bears and their safety into account. Once they were close enough, without hesitation, Brian pulled on the tub that trapped the cub. It came off smoothly, and the little bear swam off as though nothing had happened. Not a clue that he was this close to the great hibernation in the sky. Trisha and Brian watched and cheered on the tired bear as it swam slowly to the shoreline. "Swam happy," yelled Trisha. "Win-win." The bear gets a second chance at life, and the couple ended a tough day of fishing with ballets full of joy from saving a gorgeous animal. If that little taste of saving Private Yogi was a treat, get ready for a story about a little cub who was on his last legs, but with luck was not living his last days. In early April, when West Virginia's rivers and lake are still cold with winter snowmelt, a forest ranger and a bear handler from a wildlife rehab center were looking for a wee orphan black bear cub, but it wasn't them who found him then saved him again. That title goes to Elijah Barkley, a man in the area, headed out to do some fishing with his family. As Barkley headed into the wilderness with waders on, he ran into the ranger and handler. They told Barkley there was a lonely bear cub in the area and to keep an eye out. When it's a bear, looking for those kept-out eyes tend to be wide. He hadn't been on the trail long when Barkley spotted the cub near the water. He was alarmed by the bear's condition. He didn't think the little fellow looked too good. He backtracked and found the ranger and handler and quickly explained the condition of the cub and offered to take them there. They raced to the various location immediately and very nearly had him safely. When before the handler could sedate the little cub, it fell into the water face first. Barkley's quick reflexes and zero selfish thoughts saw him in the freezing water in 2 swipes of a bear's claw, swimming to the cub and grabbing it by the scruff of the neck. The little cub looked lifeless once he was brought to the shore. Given time, he slowly came to. He was weak, but Barkley had gotten to him before it was too late. The cub was revived and brought back to full health before being put back into the wild. Without the brave actions of Elijah Barkley, that little cub would not have made it, and for his efforts, Barkley got the fish that day with a full heart. Imagine if that old teddy of a bear were any larger. This next story is about a 400-pound black bear that decided its part was too cold and left Osceola National Forest to find a perfect breakfast. He assumed he would get it by rummaging through garbage on the residential streets of Alligator Point, Florida. What he got instead was a tranquilizer dart from wildlife authorities with poor aim. Instead of snoozing after getting poked, the poor bear ran off in a fright dark sometimes miss. But there really are limited ways to get a large bear to cooperate in the middle of the forest on the edge of the sea. When the tranquilizer dates start to kick in, the poor bear, dazed and confused, wandered into the ocean without a life jacket on to his good fortune. Adam Morick, a biologist with the Wildlife Commission, was in the area. Morick ran like Hassel off into the surf before the big fella got too far out into the Gulf. The bear was getting heavy as the sedative took full effect, but Warwick toughed it out and broke the sleeping bear's fall. He grunted and snorted, Warwick, not the bear, as he manhandled the heavy sleepy bear close enough to the shore for a tractor bucket to come and pick him up. Warwick brought him in 25 yards from the ocean and stuck around to make sure he got into the back of a pickup truck for a safe ride home. He sustained minor scratches from the bear's claws and one major flood in his heart from his good deed and new forest friend. Warwick decided to skip the gym that He didn't want to risk putting his back out. The rescues keep getting fuzzier up. Next is our main event, and it's a whole big-time family affair. If you enjoy this type of content and want to know when we have more, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon. If you like people saving bears, this mama bear pleads to a man to help save her drowning cub. When this mama bear decided she was taking her 2 cubs across the ice, she underestimated a bunch of variables and put her and her cubs in the line of danger. It is still not known why the bear felt compelled to make the mission, but it is widely believed she made the wrong decision. She was lucky it didn't cost her life or those of her cubs. The lake the mother and cubs were crossing is called Lake Vivo Zero. It is in the northwestern region of Russia and is well known for its excellent fishing. There are more than 500 islands on the lake, and its surrounding area is full of spectacular wildlife, including brown bears. The water can go as low as 4 degrees below zero and has strong currents under the surface. A person can survive in water 5 degrees below zero for 10, maybe 20 minutes before they experience loss of coordination and strength as hypothermia sets in. Now bears have more fat to protect their core heat, so they may have lasted longer than a human. But still, that's pretty cold, even for a bear. And so, it is no surprise that the little cubs were struggling to go on. The mother bear put the cubs on her back and tried swimming them across Vigo Zero. Halfway across, she changed her mind, deciding she couldn't handle them anymore. She bucked them off and took off towards shore. The weak cubs were left alone to tread to freezing mortar and swim against rough undercurrents. As they were being spit out into the lake, a small boat full of fishermen happened upon the drama, with Mama Bear just standing on the shoreline staring at her cubs. The fishermen figured they had to help. It was clear to them the cubs would not last much longer in these conditions. Brown bears are predatory animals with all the sharp items in all the right places. They are at the top of the food chain, so when a human or humans have to help one, especially when a not-so overprotected mother is around, precaution is a must. The first cub made its way to the boat and grappled its side, while biting the deck, attempting to gather itself a little extra support. The men used a fishing net to pull the bear on board by its honey with one eye on the board at bear. They turned to assist the second cub into the net, now hanging off the side of the boat. Once aboard, both cubs were visibly shaken, but seemed believed to have had the help. While all of this was happening, Mama Bear made her way back into the bush that came as a relief to the fishermen. They knew what island she had come from, so they brought the cubs back to its shore. Instead of risking getting close to Mum, to the fishermen's delight, the cubs had affection for the rescuers and didn't want to leave at first. But the moment Mama's scent filled the air, they were off the boat like it was on fire. As the men pulled away, Mama Bear came to retrieve her cubs. Giving a good long look at the fishermen on her way by, perhaps that look was gratitude for the lives they had just saved. Perhaps she was hungry.